Hello and welcome back to the world's most mean and hate-filled podcast. Alright, what is it like? 2:30 a.m.? Still can't sleep. All the coffee. Alright, first order of business. Everybody who likes their weekends off, you're wrong. The weekend is actually the worst day you could possibly ever hope to get off of work. And I'm going to tell you why, alright? What do you do when you have Saturday and Sunday off of work? What do you do with that? Okay, everything closes early on Saturday, because everybody else wants to take Saturday off. Sunday, everything's closed for some reason, church, I guess. There's nothing to do on weekends. Especially the bank, the post office, all the things you actually need, those are all closed if you don't get there by 12 o'clock in the afternoon. See, if I wanted to take a day off, I always wanted like Tuesday or Wednesday off. That way I can go out and everything will be open, businesses will be open. I can actually go do something. Saturday, Sunday, complete waste. Now, see, I ran into that problem working 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. I couldn't go to the post office anymore. As soon as, post office opens at 9, closes at 4. Okay, well, that's Monday through Friday. I can't go to the post office during any of the opening hours. My mailbox is locked inside the post office at the time, so that was out. Now, Saturday, you could get up, and as long as you got there between 9 and noon, you could potentially get your mail then. Unless you get called in Saturday, or something else happens Saturday. Well, then you're screwed for another week. Saturday off, if you want to go somewhere, there's going to be a whole bunch of people there because everybody wanted Saturday off. You want to go, let's say, where do people like to go? What do normal people like to do? Okay, let's take bowling, for example. Let's say you want to go bowling. Do you want to go on Saturday when everybody else is off of work and everybody else is crammed in the bowling alley? Or do you want to go on like a Tuesday when all the other suckers are busy working? You got the whole place all to yourself. Restaurants, you want to go out to a restaurant? You better not pick Saturday because that's where everybody's going to be. Speaking of restaurants, what's going on with all of these burgers I keep seeing? They keep making higher and higher and taller, and then smaller around. Like, I keep seeing them adding more and more patties, but each time the patty, circumference, diameter, whatever, gets smaller and smaller. So you're just making the patty smaller, but then you're adding a second patty on top. Okay, so you've taken your quarter-pounder cheeseburger, but now you've made it into like 8 really microscopic patties that go straight up like a bar. What good is that? Just make the patty wider, then you can enjoy the burger longer, too. I went to Dairy Queen and I got some kind of like quadruple patty cheeseburger. It was good and everything, but it didn't need to be that tall. They could have taken those patties and instead of putting like 4 of them on there, just put 2 big patties on. Or heck, even make it 1 ginormous patty. Like, I would rather have a 1 single patty cheeseburger that's, like, say, 8 inches across, than have one that's stacked, like, 8 inches in the air, but it's really small like a cookie around. And then the super poofy bun on top sometimes. I don't need that much bread on a cheeseburger. I hear people talking about how good certain bread is all the time. No, it's just there to hold the sandwich together. That's its only purpose. Other than if you didn't need something to hold all the ingredients in, I would just forgo the bread entirely. Which I did at Sheetz before. I discovered that at Sheetz, you can go through their menu options and select to remove the bread, and they just give you the sandwich ingredients in a bowl. It was pretty neat, but if I'm going to pay for the bread, unless I'm getting a discount, I'll take the bread. just because it's not dropping the price any. One time I did accidentally order a slice of ham at Sheetz. I was ordering there, and I accidentally ordered a second ham sandwich, but I did it accidentally, so I did it so fast, the only thing on it was the ham, and it took the bread off. So I got my order, and here comes a little plastic bowl out with like 2 slices of ham in it for $6. I was salty about that, but also just too busy laughing at it. I also checked on the veggie sub option, because you could get a veggie sub. You could remove all the vegetables and the bread. So for $5, you could order a bowl of nothing. Oh, I remember Taco Bell. Remember they had the XXL stuffed burrito or whatever it was, the really big one. It was expensive. Well, right when they were going to take it off the menu, went down to the local Taco Bell, and I ordered one with every single ingredient that I liked, which is most of them. The burrito came out to around $20, and when they brought it out, when I got it, it was so big that it was just barely able to be wrapped into a burrito. It felt like holding a water balloon that was close to bursting. In the same order, I also ordered a bean burrito with nothing in it. The girl even came out and asked me, you ordered just a tortilla, right? I know. She just shrugged her shoulders and like, well, okay. We're making one maximum burrito and one folded tortilla. I like her dedication, though, because she still, folded it and wrapped it up real nice. Like it was an actual something someone was going to eat. I didn't eat it. I threw it at my brother after it got nice and hard and stale. But the big burrito, that was actually really good for being such a monstrosity. When I walked in, the first thing I asked was, is the cook back there in a good mood today? She pops her head around the corner just like, yeah. Why? Asking real skeptical. Apparently she got a kick out of making the thing, because as I was walking down the road later, I guess she got off her shift. She stops her car in the middle of the road and shouts over, hey, how was the burrito? Told her, yeah, it was great. $20, but yeah, it was good. Take off the belt for that one. I mean, this thing was like a sub. Oh, hey, that's another one. I wonder how many people still like belts. And why? I never quite got that about, the classic leather, pleather, whatever you have at belts people wear. The kind that don't stretch or anything. Like, what good is that? I have one belt that, I have a couple of them, but I don't ever actually use them. I have one that I actually use, and it's made out of elastic. Now, that one's actually useful. But when you put on a regular belt and everything, you put it through your pants and everything, and then you cinch it either not tight enough to where it's not really doing anything, or tight enough that it's going to leave that imprint. And now, I know you can punch your own holes in the belt, but that's also going to stretch and shift around over time. So, you punch the hole in the belt, it's right today, and then in like a week, the belt's either going to be stretched out or whatnot, or the holes stretch a little bit, so now it's just slightly off again. Plus, if the friction it's causing is able to hold my pants up like good enough, because, not skinny white guy, but white guy, no butt. It don't work like that for me. So my favorite thing has always been suspenders. If they could ever actually make a decent pair that lasts. That's the problem. That's the only problem with suspenders, is they don't put any effort into actually making them. But yeah, they, instead of closing around your waist real tight to hold your pants up, they actually do their job and just go over, clip, and now it's pulling up, keeping your pants consistently up. Plus, they look cool. And are useful because you can clip things to them like a belt, but now they can go up your chest for easy accessibility. Also, suspenders aren't quite as dirty as belts, Because think about it. You go to the bathroom and whatnot, you gotta touch your belt. The belt's gonna be flopping, right there, right next to the thing, or clunking against the toilet, all that good stuff. But suspenders for the most part stay out of the way. There, you don't have to touch them, or since they stretch and whatnot, whatever you want to do, they're out of the way. They're out of the picture. There's not really any reason to go messing with them a whole lot. So suspenders are cleaner than belts. They hold your pants up better than belts. The only time I've ever chosen a standard belt over suspenders, is for work purposes, where they would for some reason say you can't wear suspenders. They didn't even give a reason for it. I'm assuming it might be so they couldn't get caught in a machine, or maybe they just didn't like the look for the company. But in any case, that was the only time I wore a belt was when they made me. Now, I have worn a belt with suspenders. Like, if I wanted to hold, something real heavy on a belt around my waist, like say I wanted to be able to tuck a bunch of tools in there or something, I'd put on the belt, but then I'd have the suspenders to actually hold my pants up and the weight of the belt. Now, maybe I am not the person who should be out there telling people what is fashionable. No, actually, I take that back. I'm exactly the person who should be out there telling people what is fashionable, since no one in the world seems to have any decent sense of fashion in the first place. Indeed, people could only wish they could copy my amazing sense of style and practicality. But you know what? People always say that you shouldn't judge other people, or... No, I'm judging you, buddy. I'm judging. And that's what everybody should do. Everybody should be judging everyone all the time. It's not a bad thing. It's just sense. That's how you evaluate decisions. It's how you evaluate who do you want to talk to, who do you want to be around. Exercising good judgment. There we go. I see the guy in the Steelers jacket with the Steelers shirt and the Steelers weird little sock hat thing. You know what? I bet he probably likes the Steelers. Just gonna go out on a limb there. And I probably don't want to have a conversation with him because I know it's going to inevitably go into football. And I'm going to be stuck there, wondering how much longer this conversation about football is going to last, and will I be able to pretend to know anything about it? Now, that might not always be the case, but that's a pretty good indication. Meanwhile, the guy in the Steelers outfit is judging me back and saying, hey, look at this freaky guy. I probably want to stay away from him. He's probably going to try to convert me to Satanism or something. One time I was in the store, and I overheard the employee people there talking about me and whatnot, and one of them said, yeah, that scary guy. Turns out he's actually nice. That was funny. Like, huh. But you know what? That's cool. I'm fine with being the scary guy. At least it means people generally leave me alone. Which is true. I never really have a problem with anyone. I'm a pretty easygoing person, but at least people also don't really go out of their way to pick a fight with me either. Which, okay. Yeah, that's fine with me. Of course, there's a difference between going with your initial assumption and just going with that as an absolute fact versus coming up with an assessment and then checking to see if you're possibly right or not. You know what I mean? Okay, like for example, the Mr. Football guy or whatnot. Would I actively go out of my way to avoid a conversation with him? No, but on my way to, if I had to approach him or whatnot, or if I looked like we were going to have a conversation, I'd be mentally preparing for trying to bluff my way through a football conversation. I would already be preparing in my head, okay, let me think here. Is it football season? What kind of rules of the sports ball is there? Do I know any football players? I know there's okay, actually I don't know any football players. Roger Staubach? If he's still alive? And maybe real? I don't know if that is real or they made him up for King of the Hill. But now I remember my one work buddy first came in. When he first came in and was introducing me, I was up on the lift. I looked down and I can hear like the southern accent and whatnot. And I'm like, oh man, he's going to want to talk to me about fishing. And he's down there, he's looking up at me and he's like, oh great, a young guy. He's going to be talking about Gen Z stuff or who knows what, skibbity bibbity bobbity toilet jizzle riz something. Now it turns out we got along absolutely fantastic. Yeah, we were running the most angry and bitter department in the whole store. It was beautiful. I tell you what, if corporate was ever watching in through the cameras, they could have watched us both go insane together. Now, of course, sometimes your initial assumption is just absolutely right. Like, for example, you see the bob haircut, the hoop earrings, the 70, 100 pounds of overweight, and you instantly know you're in for a bad time if they come walking up to you. Every time, every single time. Like, it would be an absolute miracle to have an actual good experience with Karen. Interestingly, it's usually the biker-looking people, you know, the kind of muscly looking, I guess, tough, you know, dressed tough guy with all the leather and stuff like that. They're usually actually pretty cool. Of course, on the other hand, they usually are on the older side, too. You don't really see that many young, what do you call it? I don't know what you call it, biker-type people. Which is also interesting. The most bike gangs seem to be like the senior citizen club around here. Of course, I suppose that's the way I'd do it. Think about it. If I wanted to go drive a motorcycle around in a giant group like that, I'd wait until I was old. I'd wait until I lived most of my life already. That way, you know, the guy in front of me crisps, I run over him, we all go out in a big explosion together. At least I've already lived my whole life so far. Oh, but one thing you should always judge, and you will also always be right about, is crackheads. If somebody looks like they're probably a crackhead, they probably are. Avoid them. If your initial assumption is this person looks like a crackhead, you are right. They are a crackhead. Don't go anywhere near them if at all possible. That's just the best advice I can give you. Alright, well, this is going to wrap it up for now. So here's the quote of the day. The nice part about being a pessimist is that you are either constantly being proven right or pleasantly surprised.